Are what real people frozen horde? Are what real people frozen horde? What's the dead internet theory? Um, I don't know for sure, but they seem pretty real because their answers are not something that I would expect from an AI. So if they were AIs, I mean their answers that they're giving are pretty edgy. I would be pretty shocked to hear it come from an AI, those answers that I've seen. So I think the people in the chat are real. I mean, I don't know for sure. Actually, if you want to know something really scary, so did you ever watch the show Alias with Jennifer Garner? Did you ever see that show? It was about the CIA, Alias with Jennifer Garner. Because something even more scarier than the robots was that there was an episode in Alias where Jennifer Garner, who's like a spy for the CIA, she was going to rescue her 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 partner. She was going to rescue her partner, and he was in the middle of this Korean science lab where they were actually taking the faces off of uh, Americans and putting Korean face, or they were swapping faces between Korean faces and American faces so that really uh, you thought that it was your partner, your buddy, but it was a swap. It was a body swap. I don't know exactly how they did it. Uh it was some sort of cosmetic surgery to make these Korean doubles, these Korean agents look like everyday Americans, like they were everyday Americans. So, um if you watch Alias, like just watch Alias. If you watch the show, like it'll open your eyes up to a lot of things. Because oftentimes I have family members, even my own family members, and sometimes one of them in particular, I'm concerned because they don't talk like someone like my family member. They talk like sometimes like they're like as if they're like secretly Korean or Chinese or any or even Russian inside of the body, you know? Because like I'll ask the person, oh, remember when this happened like 10 years to 15 years ago? And they don't remember. They'll say they don't remember. I'm like, how could you not remember that? Like you told me about it. How could you not remember that? And it's like, so you test the person then if to see if the person's senile or if the person is suddenly like getting dementia. But no, they're not getting dementia. They don't remember because it never happened to them. Because even though their face is the face of your family member, it's not them inside. It's like a Korean or somebody, or Russian, who like swapped the identity, who swapped the identity through cosmic surgery. And then there was another cosmetic surgery. And then there's another TV show which it had the same thing. It was The Blacklist Redemption. The Blacklist Redemption with Famke Janssen. Famke Janssen who played the original Jean Grey Phoenix in X-Men the movies. So Famke Janssen, she was in the Blacklist Redemption. And they also had an episode, but this time it was the Russians. In the Alias episode, it was the Koreans who were doing it, who were doing plastic surgery to make Korean agents look like everyday Americans. And then, but in the Blacklist Redemption TV show, it was the Russians who were doing it. And the Russians were imitating real people. It wasn't just like they were making people look like Americans. They were actually um, taking the, like, isn't it bizarre how two different TV shows with two different TV producers would have the same accusation? Like they're not even the same network. different TV producers, different writers. Of course, one of them was Russian and one of them was Korean, but still, like they have the technology where they can take your loved one and then like swap their face with a Korean spy or a Russian spy. So like your mother, right? Or your father or your sister. Maybe you have a sister and maybe you have an older sister and you suspect that your older sister isn't your sister anymore, like your original sister, whatever happened to your original sister. Like your sister could be like a Korean or a Russian or even Iranian who switched body, like who got cosmetic surgery to look exactly like your sister. Like there could be an Iranian spy who got cosmetic surgery to look exactly like your sister. They can do it. They could take theoretically, hypothetically, they have the technology. Cosmetic surgeons could take an Iranian spy and as long as the person originally has the same kind of body type, right? Obviously, they can't, they have to find someone who fits the same body type. So there are certain limitations, right, in the cosmetic surgery world, right? And if they can't like just take a man and then make it a woman, right? So it has to be also, so they have to find a female who could match, who could, with cosmetic surgery, look exactly like your sister. So they could find an Iranian woman who, with cosmetic surgery, could actually look exactly like your sister. And then all these years, you think it's your sister, but it's actually an Iranian spy posing as your sister. And you say, why would people do that? Because, well, Jesus, if it's an Iranian spy posing as your sister, and let's say your sister, for example, works for the FBI, or if your sister works at a major bank, right? Of course, the Iranians would want an Iranian spy in the banks, or as the part of the FBI, right? So like you almost want to go to all your family members and test them and see if they're really still your family members or if they're like Russian spies who got cosmetic surgery or Iranian spies who got cosmetic surgery or Iranian spies, right? Like we don't know for sure. So I maybe like ask them like questions that only they would know, right? Like ask, for example, if your sister, I don't know, if your sister, for example, when she was younger, she got first prize in the science fair, then she would remember that, right? Or she would know that. But if an Iranian spy who was like got plastic surgery just to look like your sister, and then whatever they did with your real sister, who knows? But the Iranian spy who looks like your sister, if you ask them, "Hey, oh, you remember that science project that you did? What did you get on it?" Right? And maybe if they got first prize, they would have remembered getting first prize because it's a big deal to get first prize on a science project. And so maybe what if your sister suddenly is like, what science project? Uh, what science project? Are you still my sister? Or are you like a Korean double? Are you like a Russian who got cosmetic surgery to look like my sister? Like, did you just say what science project? I'm talking about the science project which you got first prize in, and you were boasting about for a year that you got first prize on the science project. You even won an award for your science project, and you're standing there like, what science project? And then if you even try to jog their memory and be like, remember the award that you won, and there was a picture, and then suddenly they're like, so like who would forget that? Like who would forget winning first prize in a science thing? I could understand maybe if they forgot. Oh, remember what you ordered for dinner that night? Well, of course they're not gonna remember what they ordered for dinner, but you're not gonna forget that you won first prize in a science thing. So who would not remember they won first prize in the science thing? A Russian spy who got cosmetic surgery, a Korean spy who got cosmetic surgery to look like your sister. So, oh, actually, two other references. It's all over Hollywood. It's literally okay. And Hollywood, like, okay, when I say Hollywood, it makes it sound superficial or fake, but really, Hollywood is based on a lot of truth. So, Face Off. There's literally a movie called Face Off. So I guess they have the technology to make people cosmetic with cosmetic surgery. So there's a movie called Face Off with John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. It's a movie called Face Off where they face swap. They do a face swap, and the criminal does a face swap with the innocent guy. So now the innocent guy looks like the criminal, and the criminal looks like the innocent guy. So the innocent guy is in prison with the face of the criminal, and then the criminal is as the innocent guy. So it's called Face Off. And then there's another one. There's another show. Okay, it was a movie. It was the James Bond 007 movie with Halle Berry. I think it was called No Time to Die or something. Or The World. No, The World Is Not Enough. No, no, it wasn't. Okay, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was The World Is Not Enough. Or was it No Time to Die? Something like that. But it was the James Bond movie with Halle Berry. I know that for sure. It was the James Bond movie with Halle Berry, and they also and it was Koreans. It was also Koreans. They had a whole stint in the movie where the Koreans were doing plastic surgery to get their faces to look exactly like pose as everyday Americans. So they had a British person who it was discovered wasn't actually the British person anymore. It was then the Korean spy, because then they showed the clip, not the clip. They showed like the past, like the movie history where like history, like the flashback, the movie flashback where the Korean spy was getting a British face put on to the Korean spy, right? So. You think there's no way 140 people are watching this, but like I mean, the internet has what? Billions of people? The chances of nobody watching this would probably be more unlikely. 143 people. I mean, the internet has like billions of people. And the internet right now is full of like people who don't talk real stuff. Like the internet is full of clickbait, like wrong photo makes you think something, and then you go to stream it's something completely different. But like my streams, like everything I talk about is what I talk about. Like I don't do clickbait. I don't do a picture of, for example, uh, I don't do a picture of the White House being on fire to suddenly I'm talking about a basketball, or you know what I mean? So I don't do clickbait. I mean, sometimes my pictures are they're funny because they exaggerate a little bit, but they're not clickbait. Clickbait would be like you think you're going to watch something to do with basketball, and then you click into it and it's like you're watching women's wrestling. I don't know, something. It was the northern ones. Frozen Horde. Are you still there, Frozen Horde? It was the northern ones. In all of the movies, it was always the northern ones. But the Southern Koreans, I mean, who knows if the Southern Koreans are really on our side, because a lot of them, like, how can you tell the difference between a Northern Korean and a Southern Korean? So the ones from North Korea, like, I can't tell the difference. So, like, one time, there was this woman in our college, and she said, "Oh, I'm from Korea." She didn't say North Korea. She didn't say South Korea. She said, "I'm from Korea." I said, "Oh, okay." And I casually brought up, um, "Are you from North Korea or South Korea?" And then like, I didn't say it offensively. I just said, like, "Oh, okay, that's nice. You're from Korea. Are you from North Korea or South Korea?" Like I said it as part of a conversation. And she like started laughing. She said, "Of course, I'm from South Korea." I said, "Well, I'm not going to assume anything. I'm not going to assume. I mean, why didn't you lead with the fact? Why didn't you say you're from South Korea? You said you're from Korea." So, like, she said she's from Korea. So I said, "Oh, okay. That's great. We're making conversation. Oh, North Korea or South Korea?" And she said, "Well, of course." Like, she started laughing. She's like, "Of course I'm from South Korea." I'm like, "Okay, okay." But how would I know that? I mean, I don't know for sure. You could very well have been a North Korean who got past the border. Like, how would I have known for sure whether you're South Korean or North Korean? Like, people don't realize that, you know. So it's like a lot of times people can't distinguish Canadians from Americans, but we're very different. But I could totally see someone from Europe just not knowing the difference between Canadians and Americans. This is how you know. This is how you know the difference between and Canadians. Americans are at Americans are Americans are and Canadians are really nice. Canadians are nice. Well, actually, I don't know how nice Canadians are. I think usually times when people are overly nice, it's because they're trying to trick you or deceive you. So I wouldn't trust the Canadians that are overly nice, but Americans are like, and Canadians are like really nice. No, actually, but no, I can totally see people. I can't even. I've been fooled before. I thought I had a radar for fishing out Canadians from Americans, and I've been fooled. There was one time she was an American. I thought she was Canadian. She was so nice. I'm like, this nice woman must be Canadian. She cannot be an American. And she was all nice. And then, you know, she infiltrated our group of Canadians. She infiltrated our group. I honestly thought she was Canadian. I really did. Especially since the way she was talking, like as if she grew up in Canada. So she was tricking us, you know. And then actually it turned out she was American. So she's probably like an American spy spying on Canada. Which, like, don't get me wrong, we do the same thing. Canada spies on America all the time. So it's pretty fair trade at that point. We both do it. So. Is anyone still there? And but which, by the way, you said, oh, good thing. You said, good thing the Koreans are on our side, except the northern ones. I mean, any good North Korean spy would claim to be South Korean, would they not? Like, hi, I'm a spy from North Korea. Like, if they're a good North Korean spy, they're not going to admit they're from North Korea. They're going to say they're from South Korea or say Korea. I'm from Korea. Dead giveaway that they're from North Korea. Because they didn't say they're from South Korea, they said they're from Korea. But a person from South Korea would probably start off saying, hi, I'm from South Korea. They would make the distinction because obviously we know that North Korea is like a major enemy of the United, like literally there are no diplomatic relationships between North Korea and Canada and the United States. Like there's not even an office. Like if North Korea doesn't even have an embassy in Canada or the United States, that means that these people are like pure enemies. Like even the Russians but the Russians really only have an embassy in Canada as part of a reason, as a way to trick us. Like, so the Russians have an embassy in Canada and America, but that embassy is full of Russian spies. They are not, but still, like the North Koreans, it's the relationship between North Korea and America, Canada is so bad that there isn't even a North Korean like embassy in Canada or the United States. At least I'm not sure about the United States, but I know for sure Canada, there's like no North Korean embassy in Canada. But like I said, all of the good North Korean spies would obviously pretend to be South Korean, would they not? Hi, I'm from North Korea. I'm a spy. Not a very good one. Because they just said I'm from North Korea. Unless it's like a South Korean trying to make North Koreans look bad. A South Korean pretends to be a North Korean spy. Hi, I'm a spy. I'm from North Korea. Rawr! Hi, I'm a spy. I'm from North Korea. Rawr! Really, a South Korean spy making the North Koreans look bad. Be funny. I'm sure there's probably Canadians that walk around pretending to be Americans, trying to make Americans look bad. I'm from I'm from Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky, and I don't agree with your type with your ways. I'm from Kentucky. Hi, I'm from Kentucky. I can't do an American accent. I'm not good. But trust me, there are Canadians that can do American accents. They're doing them right now. There's Canadian spies all over the United States. They're doing like Kentucky. They're doing Boston accents. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. New York. I'm from New York. I'm from New York. New Yorker. There's all of these people. Hmm.